Hello, June 4th, 2011. I'd like to illustrate for you what I believe is the reason why Democrats are such great politicians and Republicans are such crappy, shitty politicians. They're just awful. They have no vision, or they can't illustrate their vision. The Ryan budget. Why are they going on TV fighting the same battle over Medicare? The table's been turned on them again. The agenda's been hijacked again. They're simply flabbergasted and they're groveling and they're gasping. And they're wondering, why is everybody always picking on me? Charlie Brown, Charlie Brown, he's a clown. Charlie Brown, wow. You know what I'm saying? Why don't they just say that they inherited this year without a budget from the previous Congress and deferred upon the Senate to pick up where they left off and stump for a way to finance Medicare? How can Harry Reid come out and call the Republicans a do-nothing party of no? And if the Senate Republicans say, well, it's not our job because the Congress has the power over the purse. Just a few months ago when the White House was going back and forth over the $6 trillion in 10 years, the $4 trillion in 12 years, the budget plans that were submitted by Paul Ryan as opposed to the president's plan, Harry Reid and several other senators, they didn't seem to mind at all, interfering with that whole process in the Congress. They were, calling impromptu press conferences left and right, and they were demagoguing the whole deal at every chance they got. And meanwhile, there wasn't a single Republican senator to come to the aid of the Republican congressman, to have some kind of rebuttal to the Democrat senators' infringement and impingement upon the processes and procedures of the House of Representatives. Where was the rugged Orrin Hatch and the Honorable Charles Grassley with his little beady eyes behind his, giant Coke bottle glasses? And John McCain, I guess he was swimming in a pool somewhere in Arizona. None of them, because they're such gentlemen, and they're following the rules. You know what? If you're going to follow the rules, at least point out when your good friend on the other side of the aisle is not following the rules. I mean, jump up and down and scream about it like they do. Charles Schumer doesn't even give a damn what the rules are. So you got to point that out. Never mind, you guys have no balls. You guys are gone. You guys are making sure. You guys are trying to cause your party to become extinct because you're all really a bunch of progressives. You're just like you're like in a wrestling match, and you're playing the guy who's trying to beat the big bad wrestler you're being paid to lose. Like Mike Tyson was paid to throw that one fight. Because they can't pay anybody to frickin' win. They can't rig up a fight and go to the victor. They have to go to somebody they believe is corrupt enough to lose. And that just might be you old farts in the Republican Senate. Notice how Democrats don't mind working overtime. I mean, if it was vacation or something, that's your excuse for not showing up to this thing. You're on some kind of vacation or going to your town halls. Well, then you should have been jumping up and down screaming at your town hall. Democrats don't mind working overtime. And when they're in control, they sure don't mind you working overtime either. They're going to pass bills at, midnight on the night before Thanksgiving and New Year's and Christmas. They're going to keep you there until you give up. They break down your morale. You have to break down their morale. They don't mind appearing cruel. So you don't mind appearing cruel. You don't have to appear cruel. You appear that this is very important and we're not going anywhere until they see things my way. We're going to force them to do what we want because it's the right thing. But why don't you guys say, why didn't our compassionate president and all his most caring people who he has running things alongside of himself on Capitol Hill for the last 4 years until just this past midterm election, in other words, the Democrat majority that's been in control since 2006, why didn't they pay for the Medicare? Somewhere in that 2,000-page monstrosity, the behemoth known as the healthcare reform, insurance reform legislation. that also stole the college loans from everybody except the Bank of the U.S. government. You're not allowed to borrow money for college from anybody else except them. And most people don't even know that. Probably especially college students. So why don't you guys say why didn't the Democrats, they've had all this time to provide Medicare funding, why didn't they? Why did they leave it to this Republican Congress? Because this is why. In case I have to explain it to you, stupid asses. This is why. They wanted to be able to blame you Republicans for not providing Medicare so they could get away with it. They wanted to be able to come to this time. They knew this time was coming where they'd be able to blame you for it. You Republicans. They would be able to blame, the Democrats would be able to blame you at this time, and they knew it. They wanted to be able to keep the medical costs for seniors out of the mega legislative document because that's pretty expensive, and you know they could fudge the numbers on the actual cost of the program more if they didn't have to worry about figuring, you know, present-day Medicare, pre-Obamacare Medicare into the mix. Medicare is basically old people, and it's pretty costly. Most people use the hospital more as they get closer to their death. It is what it is. And so, if over this period of time right here, this lapse, yes, you Democrat voters, it might be, you might not, you know, you enjoy thinking all kinds of evil things about Republicans, but consider this. They knew that a few more of you old people would die. Quite a few more in this little lapse of time, and they'd have more of their young voters popping up into voting age around this time. See, during this whole time that Republicans, you know, Obama and the Democrats have just been printing money, forcing the Fed to print money out of thin air in the blue sky and just punching numbers on the computer and saying that that's X amount of dollars that exists now, that they could spend now, using it as a slush fund for whatever they use it for, because I don't know, they said it was a jobs bill and a stimulus bill, but more people losing their jobs all the time. And besides seeing a few speed bumps being built everywhere, I don't see any big projects. So you got the sign on the road to say a stimulus project. I know they're all over the country, $20 million just for the stupid aluminum signs being painted. So the Republicans have been, you know, complaining about that. That's what's led to the Democrats being able to say that, you know, we won't stand for the Republicans trying to shove Granny in the wheelchair off the cliff in the TV commercial, you know, taking away your Medicare, old people, and then the people will believe the Democrats because they've already been drilling this into people's brains for so long that Democrats care about the little guy and Republicans don't care about poor people or blacks or women. Just the other day you had Debbie what's-her-name Schultz saying that Republicans hate women. and then she also said that the Republicans want illegal immigration to be a crime. So what? There are some illegal stuff that's not actually a crime? The media will never broadcast and rebroadcast and, you know, turn it into a blooper whenever a Democrat makes a brain fart statement like that. You know, Obama's been to 57 states. Hardly anybody's heard that. And the inhalator thing and what the hell else, but, you know, George Bush, you know, stutters, and it's just, oh, he's a poor communicator. No, it's just that you're real good communicators in the media over, you know, pointing out somebody's, you know, one mistake over and over and over again, and then hiding somebody else's bigger mistake over and over and over again. To twist people's brains into thinking, oh, this guy's dumb and this guy's smart. But all of this strategizing by the Democrats is going to force the Republicans to break the bank and give in eventually and pay Granny's bill. They voted down the raising of the debt ceiling yesterday or the day before, beginning of June 2011. And it's easy for the Democrats to vote alongside them because they had a pretty good amount of Democrats voting alongside them and with them to not allow the debt ceiling to be raised, including Debbie what's-her-name Schultz. Because, you know, she knows she's a great politician. just like all the rest of them Democrats, and they have so much media help to make them look greater than they really are, and the Republicans to look stupider than they really are. Although, I don't know, man, they're doing some pretty dumb things, the Republicans are. Okay, see, the Democrats can vote with the Republicans right now because they know it's going to go to the Senate, and it's going to be an opposite reverse vote. That's my prediction. The Senate will turn it around. And then it'll have to be voted until somebody comes to an agreement. And, you know, by then, you know, you're going to have all this more time going down the drain. More time. This is the big guy. This is the main strategy that I'm talking about. The long-term strategy of the Democrats is to waste Republican Congress majority time to implement any kind of agenda. They already had it way down the line planned. We're going to have all these arguments about money over the summer, working down to, you know, all these Christmas breaks and stuff at the end of the year. And then we're going to, you know, 2012, we're going to be swinging left and right every day, president campaign. Vote for me, vote for him, vote for somebody else, and it's going to be all about that. And that's why they're such smart politicians, and of course they're going to make the Republicans look like fools by the end of all this arguing for not raising the debt ceiling. You know, say, hey, we have to do something as opposed to doing nothing. That works every time for the Democrats. And then they could walk in next year and say, okay, after the Republicans have done nothing, you know, because they haven't been allowed to do anything, and the Democrats will walk in like Schumer will say, it's time to give the car keys back to Daddy, Junior. You apparently can't handle your driving privileges. You've heard this over the last few months, too. Time to handle this like adults. Like the Republicans are children, the Democrats are adults. Obama's an adult. Finally, we have an adult in the White House. And then after Obama gets reelected, Obamacare starts to fire up for real. We'll have a few less old people to take care of, a few more young people to help us enforce the new law. Medicare will be replaced by something else. Although we're likely to leave something, a shadow of it, and use the same name for it. So it'll seem like it's still there. It'll be merely a cosmetic name. So not as to cause all of you old people to worry about it. And that's the way it is.